This is going to be a video of my 10 life lessons that I learned while living here, moving here to Bali. I thought it's going to be 20 days, turned out to be 5 months, and I wanted to share what I learned, and maybe it's going to resonate with some of you people. It's going to be a bit of story about self-worth, happiness, and creating a life as a journey that you don't need escaping from. Okay, and the first part is actually how I got to Bali in the first place. And in theory, it started like 4 years ago when I wanted to build another business. And I made a commitment to myself. And there's a video I'll share. How I wanted to, basically, money never be a limiting factor to whatever I want to do in life. And today I'm ready for the journey. And the next time I come back, you'll already be financially stable, financially enough. And so it was December 2022, like almost like 3-4 days before Christmas, and I was feeling miserable and it didn't make any sense. I had just designed my perfect apartment that I loved living in, and I was somehow in this state of half sickness. I think it's like some kind of weird COVID symptoms. So no matter what I do, I was like still all the time 80%. And then I realized, I love this saying that you're not a tree. So if you don't like your life, you don't like how it's going, like change. And I realized, man, like I don't feel happy here. What do? What can I do to change and feel great? And there was this Sophie that I met before in the festivals, and we kind of jokingly agreed that in the winter we're gonna go to Bali. And she actually went to Bali. And I was like, damn, okay, what could be a good place to go where it's warm? And there's dancing there. It was like December 17th or something, and I just booked a flight 1 week later. And I had all those fears that I thought like, oh, what about apartment? I'm gonna stay here. I was also helping, supporting kind of my brother. I also thought, what's gonna happen there? They're all the objections that we always have in life. And then I was like, okay, let's just book it. I think it's going to be better than before, and everything else, I hope, will fall into place. And it did. I had a return ticket 20 days later, but I kept canceling and moving it. So now here we are. It's May 2. I'm flying back May 3. And finally ready to go back to Latvia. And now to the 10 lessons. Okay, so lesson number 1. It's about accepting and living your own path and trying to understand when you're really living someone else's idea of your perfect life. And to me, there was like 2 ideas there. One was about how after 5 years of relationships, I got single, and then I needed to, I somehow was feeling really good when being single. And still I'm having like a gentle pushes or gentle questions about like, well, how long are you going to live like this? Like, well, you still don't need a family. What are you going to do when you're old? And even my ex, like she thought she wanted a kid, and then realized later that it actually was more kind of gentle pressure and nudging from the family, and that she actually didn't want a family at the moment. Later, but yes. And for me, I needed to accept, and actually I started communicating that I never really craved a family. And I think I would be a good father, but I was like, well, there was never a stage when I really felt and craved yet that I want to be a father. And it was hard to accept it. I thought like, okay, well, how do I live my life if I don't do that? But kind of accepting it, and then later communicating it, let's say when I meet some girls, that I tell that, well, I'm not looking for relationships right now, and kind of communicating exactly what I can offer and I cannot offer. And that was scary at first because I was afraid of rejection. But actually I was very pleasantly surprised that when I communicate what I cannot offer, actually it's being appreciated, and I actually save people time, and it ended up being a good thing. And the second thing on this first thought on living your path is that I have some role models in life. For example, in the business world, I really, really would like to grow bigger and bigger business and become a millionaire, multimillionaire, like do really impactful things, like have bigger and bigger impact by the team I have built, through the team I built. And I have a friend like that who's basically reduced all his life. So only things he does, he takes care of his health, but everything else is focused on him growing business, making more money. And that's the way he believes he makes the most impact. And I love that idea. And I really tried to live it, but then I think over the year, I ended up burning out like 4 times. And then my friend asked, like, why is it happening? Why is it happening that you keep getting burned out? And I'm going to touch it more on the second point, but the idea is that I was trying to live someone else's life. And even though I like the idea, I cannot do it. It's not my path. I like the idea of being like workaholic, crazy focused on one thing, but I cannot do it. And I needed to accept it about myself. So the only way I can get to the result if I enjoy the process. But if I don't enjoy the process, the journey, I'm never going to get to that level. So pick the things where you enjoy the process, and then you're going to get results. Okay, so number 2, it's creating a life as a journey where you never arrive to that destination. But so you design. So there was a theory that I was like, okay, well, if I would design my dream life, why would I ever burn out? Because I was so frustrated that I keep burning out. Like I get super motivated, super focused, and then I burn out like crazy. I don't want to do anything for 1-2 weeks, and I really need to work with myself to get back in the flow. And that's when for the last 2 months, that's what I did. That I realized that even though I don't plan anything, let's say, I can be super focused for 2 days, super focused, and then I start wasting time. I start watching some videos, I start playing some game, or I want to drink something. I start wasting time. And even though I kind of plan like, okay, this whole week I'm going to work, it never ends up working like that because I cannot work all the time. And then I thought like, okay, well, I like experiences, I like adventures, I like movement. So then I was like, okay, what if I could design a life where I don't need to escape from, where I don't burn out? And it felt like a radical, crazy, scary concept. So what ended up happening that I had I had 2 days, and then I had 1 day or 2 something going for some trip we need to organize. Let's go for hiking, go for snorkeling, and I was like kind of scared, but I was very surprised to realize that when I did that adventure, my body was feeling great. I was feeling great. I sometimes got unexpected conversations and unexpected ideas, and most of all, I was craving to be on computer and work. And I love that idea. It still takes a bit of time to kind of rebalance it, to find the perfect balance where you mix in enough adventures and so you still get enough work done. But so far it feels like a hack to life. Because especially if you're in the position where you can design your own life, turns out you can design a lot more activity that keeps your body and mind healthy, and you have those experiences while also you get the work done, and maybe you're even more productive by working less. For example, for dancers, if I know there's a dancing party in the evening and now I have 3 hours, I'm crazy productive because I know that the sweet treat is awaiting me soon enough, and those 3 hours I want to use. I want to be effective, I want to be productive, right? Okay, so next idea that I think I originally got from Mark Manson. It's about either it's a hell yes or it's a no. So if you're not super excited about the idea, it's a no. Don't proceed with it. And I used it a lot when kind of deciding whether to meet someone, whether to have something more intimate with that person. And it really, really helped me make better decisions. And actually that was my problem with in relationships, that I later understood that when you spend all the time together, many times, let's say we had those date nights, and there were times when it wasn't a hell yes from me. If I could have done anything else, I probably would have, I don't know, just relaxed by myself and read a book or went for a walk. But I was like, well, I need to work on the relationships. And that's why we need to do the date night to keep the relationships healthy. Same way, let's say in the evening, you're kind of tired. Well, you and your partner are there, so you're like, well, let's watch a movie. It's not a hell yes experience, but you're kind of there because it kind of happens. And what I love now, if I want to meet someone, either hell yes, I want to spend that time with that person, or it's a no. And I also try to really ask it from other people, because we have sometimes trouble, and I still have sometimes the trouble on saying no. When someone offers you something and you need to say no, and it doesn't feel good to say no. And other people's are the same too. So let's say I want to meet someone, I invite them, and if I don't feel like it's a hell yes, I make it very easy for them to cancel on it, because I don't want to meet someone as well if it's not a hell yes. And if from both sides it's a hell yes, or it's a hell yes for some experience, you're gonna have amazing time. And it's saving both of your times, and in general, like in life, you should be doing less of things for other people, or less of things that are not hell yes, because the time is actually short. But if you end up finding out what you really like, and then you spend more of your life doing what's hell yes for you, you're gonna have an amazing life. And the more I do the hell yes, and the more I push it, the better my life becomes. The more present I am, the more I enjoy the times with the person that I'm with. And when I'm there, I'm 100% there because I chose to be there. If I didn't want to be there, I would be on my own, and there will be a different choice. So yeah, this is a big idea, and try it. And the fourth lesson is that I will die and you will die. And this one seems like super obvious one, but somehow, like me being 34 right now, I was kind of exposed to the idea that I really thought that technologies will evolve, that will become immortal. And somehow I really was believing that idea. And then actually seeing how the technologies is developed, yes, maybe I will live till 80, maybe till 100, but chances are, like odds are against us being immortal, because no one has escaped death yet, right? No one has escaped it, so chances are I won't either. And this concept, I think, is helpful, even though it's not new, to think about your death. Because I have a story where I was riding the scooter from Canggu to Jimbaran, and when I was on the street, suddenly I saw that there was an accident on the road, and that's something you don't see, let's say, in Latvia. And there was a woman laying down, face down, and her face was all red. And I saw that she wasn't moving. I think she hit her head, and that's it. And when I'm driving on the scooter, I'm feeling like more and more confident. The more often you do it, you feel like, oh, nothing can happen to you. And there I was like, man, it could have been me. Like, I think I'm here driving and I have all my life ahead of me, but something stupid might happen. I have a horrible accident and suddenly I'm gone. And that really kind of shocked me, because I usually don't see dead people. But it kind of made me appreciate life more, and knowing that, well, yes, I want to plan for the future, but I also don't want to live for the future. I want to experience things now, knowing that I don't know if I will get a cancer or I will have something bad happen to me. I think I try to live healthy, and I hope that I'm going to live a long life, but it's not for granted. You shouldn't take it for granted. And actually, the longer I live, the more I hear the stories of accidents happening, like the cancers happening, and and that's how I understood that, okay, I'm lucky with health for now, but I don't know how much I get, right? And you don't know either. And the fifth idea is that don't think it's always about you, because chances are it's not. We are so arrogant to think whatever we do, oh, it's because I did something, or because of me. And I had it for years in dancing, because when I invited some girl, there was the big self-worth issues for me that I didn't realize, is that whenever I have bad experience in dancing, I always thought it's my fault, and that I'm just a bad dancer. And that kind of pushed me, this low self-worth pushed me to keep growing in dancing. output was good, no motivation wasn't good because it comes from a bad place. And then I keep seeing it more and more that how oftentimes, like when the person like honks at you at the road, someone is rude at you, or someone gives like a weird response to you that makes you feel bad, like at least my default is always think, oh, I did something wrong. But sometimes, very often, it's actually the person had a bad day, the person has some insecurities which causes them to respond in a way. And also, like even in the dating scene, like if you invite some girl or invite someone and they say no or don't seem to be interested, it's usually not about you. It's usually that the person is, even if it's the right person, it might be not the right time. They might be in different place where they really want to resolve some other issues. Maybe their ex is still talking to them, and they don't feel in the place. Or maybe there's also this career. Like I've been in that when for several years. I didn't care how I looked. I didn't care about anything. I just care about my professional life, because I was like, man, if I'm broke, like, what's the use? I feel like my life security is affected. So that was my number one, that I need to make enough money so I can support myself and my close ones. I can help the close ones. And yeah, so it's usually not about you. Okay, and the sixth idea is kind of more for business, but it can also be applied very well to the personal life. So to me, the story was that I always thought about hiring a virtual assistant for myself, like executive assistant, but I always was procrastinating it. I always thought like, oh, who am I to kind of have assistant? That sounds like that's only like big CEOs have, or I will not have the person enough work to give. But I went to Bali. I was like, okay, finally, let me find someone in Bali who can help me to organize things, find accommodation, plan the travels, help with the visas and stuff. And I was like, okay, even if I will not have enough work for that person, I'll still go and try and experience this experience. And that I did. And I have a part-time VA here in Bali, and it's been amazing. That's actually a secret how I can travel so much and still get work done. Because actually travel planning, especially if you want to have good experiences, it takes lots of time. It takes lots of time to find good places, to plan the experiences. You need to call, you need to arrange the scooter, the driver, the places, you need to call with the experienced person. Oh, there's so much stuff. And if you have opportunity to have a VA, I'm like, man, it's like I have superpowers suddenly. I have this extra person that can help me and helps me a lot. Like if like this, I was able to travel and work. Otherwise, I wouldn't, because even travel planning, the people who have traveled longer times, they know it's almost like a full-time, part-time job. And the other related idea is that, especially in your own business and actually in life as well, like you don't need to suffer. Like for us, I think especially in European culture, we think that, oh, if you're not working hard, if it's not painful, we're taking easy route. We're somehow pussies. And I was thinking like that a long time. And for example, my brother had some health issues and he was staying with me. And while I wanted to help, I was noticing that it's really affecting my work productivity. I work from home. And I was like suffering for that like 2 weeks. It was affecting my social life and also my productivity. And then I talked and shared it with my family, my sister, husband, my father, my mom. And turned out there was a very simple solution, how my brother could live on the same building on second floor and he could still come up. But during the nights, during the days, sometimes I could easily have my own personal space, which I needed. And I was afterwards shocked that I was suffering for like 2 weeks, where instead I can ask for help, I can share, because other people have no clue that for you it's hard. If you don't tell, nobody is a mind reader. And the same thing in work. For example, I have a team right now of 14 people, and when I was hiring a coach, he was saying that, oh, you need to do those weekly calls, you need to do daily huddles, you need to do the performance reviews, you need to do the quarterly plans. And I really hate calls. I can do very little of them, but they take so much energy of me. But then my business partner basically told that, oh, you can design it, your business, you can design it around your strengths and weaknesses. So right now, I have the site manager who does all those calls, or the team leads who do those calls. I have only one call that I do maybe once every 2 weeks with that site manager and with my partner. That's it. And I was again amazed that you can break things, you can design the life that works around your strengths and also works around your weaknesses. And it's possible if you just ask. Okay, number 6 is a very simple one. It's based around the story where I went to Singapore. And if you haven't been to Singapore, I really recommend you visit. To me, it felt like a different planet. It was so rich. I also had a friend who arrived and picked me up in his Porsche. He drove me to fancy places. Like, he's a millionaire right now, so he really showed me, and he was showing kind of like rich lifestyle. I was like, wow, it's so cool, so amazing. We go to the private clubs and kind of very exclusive places, and it's all beautiful. I enjoyed it, but and I had a friend who was saying like, oh yeah, so now you understand kind of what I'm trying to work for. This is what money is for. And while it was nice, to me, it still did very little. I realized while I appreciate those experiences, I still feel a lot better, like actually here. This is a nice place, but it's more around nature, more simple. It's not artificial. There are not many people. The service here is also kind of very simple, down to earth. So the idea here was that I need to understand what things I really appreciate and spend money for them. For example, I also have a few friends for whom having a nice car is very important. And to me, I don't like driving that much. So to me, a lot more exclusive is if I have a private driver, or like in Latvia, I just have a taxi. And if I really want to drive, I just rent a car. But I don't own a car. Actually, I own very little things, because when I had more things, like I had a car, I was worrying about it more. And I hated it. That was because it had my name on it, I was worrying about it. But I only spend money for the things that I really, really enjoy. And then you end up actually spending less money, because maybe there are not that many things that you enjoy. Okay, and actually last 3 points I got from this Buddhism book. I may be wrong, and I was very surprised actually. My sister's husband suggested it to me, and he has suggested me several nice books before. And he said like, yeah, it's kind of not relevant to you. Like, that's about a guy who basically gave all his stuff away and decided to become full-time forest monk. And he did it for, I don't know, 12, 13 years. Just living in forest and pretty much meditating all day. And he said, read it like a fiction. And so I did. And I was surprised to get really, really deep lessons from it. Okay, so the first one was actually about judging people. I learned it when one friend told it to me that, oh, like it seems like you're judging people a lot. Kind of, why is that? Kind of negative. And had a conversation with the person, and I was like, okay, I know it's not nice, but it's not hurting anyone. When I stopped judging people, I was like, okay, I see this person maybe is wearing like she's wearing very tight leggings, and she's a bit overweight, and that's not too nice to look at. Like, I don't know, I would never do that, for example, or I don't understand people who do that. Now I look at them and like, okay, this is the person, like they are the way they are. It's okay, I don't even think about it kind of more. And somehow I feel like a kinder person. I feel better myself. And also when I engage with other people, because I pass no judgment, because I don't know their story, I don't know what's happening with them, I have no clue. Maybe they have their own reasons and their own story, their own challenges, their own pain they're working through. So I don't know. And when I stopped doing those things, I found it easier to talk to people, to be empathetic. I think it also passes the energy that they feel acceptance, they feel like they don't feel judged, they feel good, and it's easier for them to connect with me as well. So try it. 8th idea is thought-provoking. It's maybe not. So it's about the fact that you never know if something that happens is a good thing or a bad thing. If you're totally wrong about something, or maybe you're not right about it. Just this mindset that you keep around when you're walking, that, oh, maybe this move is like this, maybe it's like that. Maybe my plans will work out, maybe not. So no matter what happens in life, accept that you really don't know. Like, whenever has life evolved exactly as you thought it's going to be? If you look back, is it everything happened as you planned? No. So be more kind of open for the unexpected curves that life throws at you, realize that in the end you don't know. You can put direction there, but you don't know it's gonna happen like that. So just this maybe, maybe not, which is gonna go with the next point. Number 9 is the idea from the same book that being right is not the point. And there have been several times when I caught myself in like stupid argument. It doesn't really matter who's right, who's wrong. It doesn't matter. And the same idea is that maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I actually learn, and I'm a lot better person to hang out with if I just accept that I may be wrong, and that proving someone that you're right is not the point. So if there is like an argument, it starts to go in a bad direction, just don't engage in a conversation. Accept that, okay, maybe that person is right, maybe I don't know. And even if you know that you're right, still, why spend the energy of arguing back and forth and proving someone else the point? If they're not ready for it, for example, even if you're right, like it's still not worth spending the time and energy to proving someone. And even if you prove someone right, that the person is wrong, whenever it has kind of felt good afterwards, no, it never feels good. Unless, of course, the person is open, aware, and they actually want to hear some kind of harder truth about themselves, and it goes both ways. Okay, so last thought, almost last, is about don't trust your own thoughts, and especially if they're right. I never realized that your own thoughts actually create the most pain in your life. We suffer about the things that we think it's true, that might not be true, that others might be thinking about you but are not true. We tell the stories of what we're good enough. There's this glasses that we have, how we see the world, and there's so many times, like climbing the mountain, especially after now I just climbed the Gung, is that you climb the mountain and then you raise above the tree level, and suddenly you see more. And you realize that, oh, if I thought the trees is all, no, actually there's a lot more. There are other islands around. There are other mountains around. And I never saw them. I never knew they were there. And they were not there in my mind because I didn't see them. And that's actually with your own thoughts. Your thinking at the moment is right from that perspective, from that time in life. But you need to accept that many times it's wrong. So it really helps to not trust your thoughts too much. Instead, create this conversation in your head about self-love, about saying kind things about you. Instead of you saying like, oh, I'm not there, like for me, I would punish myself, oh, I'm not there because I'm just not committed enough, like I'm not hardworking enough. But it kind of telling that story to myself, it never helps. So instead, I accept where I'm good, I accept where I'm bad. I kind of live with this real perception of me, and I just keep stretching that. I try to take it one day at a time and not listen too much to those kind of bigger stories, and it helped me to feel a lot better in my own body, in my own skin. Okay, so it's been 10 lessons. I'm gonna actually give you a little bonus, which came just now from climbing Mount Agung. I feel really a big sense of accomplishment after climbing this big mount, and that made me think how good it is in life to keep having like those small challenges, and then at time to time find a way to kind of really push yourself, run a sprint, make it even harder for yourself, and then out of them you're gonna feel this great sense of accomplishment. You're gonna feel stronger. And in general, I really love this quote. I forgot who was the author of it. It said, hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. So when you put more challenges in your life, you are a bit more prepared whenever life decides to throw a curveball on your direction. So make hard choices, make challenges, and then you're going to be more prepared for life. Plus, it feels amazing when you're like scared, you've never done it before, and then you do it, and you're like, actually, I can do it. If I can do this, I can do even more. I can do higher. Okay, so I'm on the way back to Latvia in Changi, Singapore airport, which is incredible. So I hope you enjoyed the lessons. I would love to hear your thoughts. this was to spark really the conversation that if kind of you have some similar thoughts or you had some follow-up thoughts about this, I would kind of love to talk to you about it. So see you when I see you.